Oh, why hello there, mysterious viewers. It is I, King Lin Loses 6-4, here to talk to you about Season 7, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones, The Queen's Justice. Game of Thrones, where you win or you fly. You get the gist. Anyway, let's get right into it, shall we? I had a long video last time. I'm going to try to make it shorter, but I get rambling when I talk about this wonderful show, so let's get right into it. Okay. Let's start with very first. It starts off right with a bang this episode. I did not expect them to lead the episode with the meeting between Jon and Daenerys, but they did. So, let's get right into it. We get Jon, and he meets up with Tyrion. They have a cool little exchange on the way, walking up to Dragonstone. Finally, we get another cool exchange about Tyrion asking about Sansa, and that, it was never consummated and all that, which was funny. And then we have this cool little, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when that dragon flew ahead, it was right after Jon said, well, I'm not a Stark. And then a dragon flies right over Jon, and I'm hoping soon that we're going to get a scene with Jon going face to face with one of the dragons, preferably the one he would end up riding, if we're going to go that state. This is a book sort of thing, or a theory about Jon being a dragon rider, ends up being one. And of course, which dragon would he ride? Well, Drogon is already for Daenerys, Dany, and then we have two left. He's probably going to end up riding Viserion. Excuse that. My direwolf out there. No, the fuck he's not. He's going to end up riding Rhaegal, named after his father. Anyway, let's see if that happens. Let's go ahead and actually get into this episode, though. We get Dany and Jon meeting for the first time. Dany has all these titles and all this sort of stuff in Davos for Jon. Just it's Jon Snow. He's king in the north. Anyway, we get Dany basically trying to be queenly, confronting her first Westerosi lord, really. King, I should say. Excuse me. But we get her confronting Jon, and she's giving him like almost just nothing for him. She's just not giving in to him at all, or hearing what he says, and that's understandable, kind of. It's annoying, but it's understandable. And Jon is just sick of all the games. He just needs the help. So it's interesting to see how that went down, especially with Jon's attitude towards her near the end. Tyrion comes in a major part later on with these two, after these two originally clash, basically. And Jon's basically a prisoner on the island. He really is. I mean, we'll get into that after this. But let's talk about that little scene in between from where Jon arrives and he meets Dany with Melisandre and Varys. And let's just skip straight to the end where Melisandre says, I'm leaving, I have to come back one last time to die, just like you do. So she's I guess in the flames, or a prediction. She predicts she and Varys is going to die before the end of Game of Thrones. That's witchy prophecy there. It'll be interesting to see if that comes true. It probably will. Let's move on from there. We have Theon and Reek. Theon is Reek. Saved by some Ironborn who basically call him out on his stuff. It's like, if you tried to save your sister, you wouldn't be here. And we pretty much leave from that straight into Euron, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. I don't mean favorite as in he's a good guy. He's just fun to watch. He's a big bad who is just fun and entertaining. The dude is hamming it up, and I am loving every minute of it. Him pulling Yara and the Sand Snakes through King's Landing, going up to the castle, he's like a rock star. He loves every moment of what's happening for him. He gets into the throne room, stands in front of Queen Cersei, throws down the sand snakes, and then props himself up, does the Captain Morgan stance. I don't know if anyone else noticed that he just puts his knee out there, and it was just so good. Euron, I'm enjoying him more and more. He is a crazy MFer, but he's super entertaining. And then him taunting Jaime after Cersei promises that he'll get his reward after the war's over. Sure. But him taunting Jaime was hilarious. Like, the balls on this guy are like this freaking big, and it's hilarious. He walks out, he does the little bow. It's just fantastic. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with Euron right now. And from Euron, we get straight into Ellaria Sand and her daughter. This scene was amazing for Lena Headey here. I thought she did a great job. It wasn't a violent scene. It wasn't any of that. But this was some psychological torture BS in this scene. It was so good the way she sets up, and she shows a little humanity, just for a second. When she gets sincere and she asks Ellaria, why did you take my daughter from me? Basically, there's that brief moment of the last glimpse of humanity, a little shard that's left in Cersei as far as her children go, and then disappeared. But there's that brief glimpse there, and I thought it was interesting to see. And she just doesn't matter now, goes right back into her Mad Queen phase, where she goes on and talking about how she doesn't sleep basically anymore, and she just thinks about all the ways she can kill her enemies, and she's describing different ways to do it, and how a really good part of that scene was when she goes and starts touching the daughter and says, look at her beautiful little face. It would I imagine it being cracked open like a duck egg, but that would be just too horrible. And then she plants a big old kiss on her, and right there I knew it was over. The long farewell. Poison, the same thing she did to her daughter, and they do the whole freak out thing, and you have Qyburn over there, being the straight man like he's supposed to. Most assuredly, she'll assuredly die. Good stuff. And we find out that it's not just that she's going to be killed. Okay, she's going to be left in there with her mother, and her mother gets to see her die and rot, and she'll be left in there until she dies. But she's going to be kept alive as long as possible. They're going to force water and food down her throat. She's just going to be kept alive in the same room with a constant source of light through torches, watching her daughter rot in front of her own eyes. Dealing with the smell and the stink and the bugs and it's a horrible way to go. But you know what? Don't kill innocent little girls. In this case, Cersei, while being a horrible torture sort of thing to be done, don't kill little girls. I don't, shit, there's no reason to kill Myrcella. So, moving on from there, that wonderful scene, we get to Cersei, who gives no shits anymore about who sees her with Jaime. She makes out with Jaime right after she does the poison thing, which I was at first like, whoa, let's chill out with that. But I guess she wiped it all off, and then they do their little thing, because apparently murdering the person who murdered your daughter is a big-time aphrodisiac. I did not know this. And then we get to her just opening the door with a servant standing there, seeing Jaime in there. Jaime's like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Crazy. And then we move on with the Iron Bank. And we get the Iron Bank is wants to collect their debt, and they're gonna throw the resources behind Dany. But Cersei actually does some Tywin shit as Mycroft tells her, just like her daddy, and she says that they'll have the debts paid off in a fortnight, 2 weeks. How the hell are they going to do that? What kind of plan is she coming up with? At the time, I was like, I was wondering what she was doing. I was like, well, whatever it is, I don't like it. But, you know, really? You're going to pay all that debt? Little did we know. Save that for later. From there, we move on to Tyrion. Tyrion ribbing Robb. Rest in peace, bro. Tyrion ribbing Jon about brooding so much, and then giving some pretty good advice. Another good back and forth. Jon saying he's a prisoner. Tyrion basically come out saying, "Listen, you can't just expect her to automatically believe you. She just got back, and you're some guy who's supposedly rebelling against her, King in the North. You come down, and you're like, hey, there's these myths, even though she has dragons, right? And she, witch doctor, all that good stuff. With her husband called Drogo, witchcraft, all that stuff. She can't be burned. Nonsense. Anyway, so we get Tyrion basically telling him, like I already said, you can't just expect her to believe, in the Night King and the White Walkers and the Whites and the army of the dead. Is there something I can ask, or something reasonable? And Dragonglass. Tyrion and Dany now have this conversation where Tyrion says he believes Jon, but Dragonglass doesn't mean anything to her. Give him something by giving him nothing. You lose nothing by helping him out. So, in another scene, we get Jon and Dany one-on-one meeting together, and I don't know but there was, it may be just misreading it there, but there was a chemistry there, and it may be a forced chemistry that we're all wanting. Not necessarily sleep with each other, even though the Targaryens are all about the incest, but there's a familiar bond. That the thing when you reunite with a family member or a family member you've never met, there's something you're drawn to them about, and that it could be that. We'll see if that plays into it, but it was really cool to see them go one-on-one, and for Dany to they have that argument. I haven't changed my mind where the thrones belong. I'm going to take Cersei off the Iron Throne. Well, I haven't changed my mind either. It's like, you know what? You can mine the Dragonglass. I'll allow you to do that, and any help you need or manpower, I'll provide. And Jon's like, wow, thank you. Do you believe me? And she's like, well, you better go hurry up, Jon Snow. So I know an answer there. So that was cool. Moving on from there, we go to... Oh, real quick. Almost missed this. Did you notice that Dany noticed about the whole knife to the heart and how Davos almost gave away that he was killed? It'll be interesting to see how that comes back. That's not just a one-time thing. That's going to come back in some way, and we'll see how it plays out. I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. We also get a Bran and Sansa reunion. Yay! Almost a tear-filled moment for me. It was so good to see Bran back with Sansa. They hug each other. They do all that good stuff. And real quick, to step back from that, Peter Baelish Littlefinger actually gives some decent advice right before this happens. Some actual decent advice. No manipulating advice, but put yourself in every scenario imaginable, and you'll never be surprised if you do that. It was actually good advice. Back to Sansa and Bran. It was really nice to see them back together again, but Bran, since we've seen him at the end of Season 6, I know we saw a brief glimpse of him earlier this season, but the end of Season 6, before he was the Three-Eyed Raven, he was still somewhat Bran. Apparently he's been doing this a lot as we've gone down. His emotions are gone. He's not how he was anymore. And Sansa's like, you're the Lord of Winterfell now, and I don't know how that would work with Jon being king in the North, because if you're going to name a Stark, would Bran be the king in the North? But we'll see how all that plays out. But Bran says, I can't be Lord of anything. I'm the Three-Eyed Raven now. I don't know what that means, says Sansa. Bran says it's hard to explain. He goes to explain it. It doesn't work. And instead of doing that, he goes into, he sees everything. So he starts describing her wedding night that she was raped on by Ramsay in Winterfell. And Sansa's like, oh, I'm getting out of here. And Bran's like, I'll stay here for a while. It's just like, bro, come on, social cue, man. You just reunited with Sansa. Let's not remind her of her rape. Anyway, so yay for the reunion. At the same time, kind of creepy, Bran. Kind of creepy. Read some social cues, bro. I know you're the Three-Eyed Raven now and everything, but come on. And now we move on to Jorah. Now, I originally wrote, he's no longer infected, ? doesn't say that. It says he's no longer infectious, not infected. No longer infectious. So does that mean he can still die from it? Or is he cured? Or is he just going to have the scars forever? I'm not sure. Just like what's her name did. Oh my god, I can't believe I've forgotten her name. Anyway, Stannis' child did on her face. Is he going to have those scars now? Forever? Is he cured? Is it stalled or what? But he's no longer infectious. So he's free to go. We get this cool little thing where he's trying to play off, oh, it was just the rest and the climate made everything better. So we find out Sam basically at least stopped the dragon scale from progressing or being infectious anymore. So that's really cool. We get Sam with a scene with the Archmaester afterwards, where the Archmaester's basically like, you know what, you did a good job. Now here's your punishment. Because my prediction was that Sam would get kicked out. He'd take some of the secret books and he'd leave with Jorah. I'm wrong, apparently. So he looks like he's going to be there further. I thought Sam would be out of there by midway through this, and we only have one more episode till we're past midway. So it looks like I'm wrong in that account. But Jorah's healed and he's headed to Daenerys, to Dragonstone. Now, how is he going to do that? Is he going to cut across Westeros? Because Old Town, where they're at, is at the bottom of Westeros, it's sort of near Highgarden, near that area. So is he going to cut across Westeros through land and get there, or is he going to get a boat and go around? We'll see. So that was cool. And we move on to the big last scene that doesn't involve Dany or Jon, and that's the Unsullied attacking Casterly Rocks. First time we get to see it, and I wasn't that impressed, to be honest. In the books, it's described relatively cool. We don't get a lot of it actually, but I guess it's just a build up to Casterly Rock. But anyway, we get Tyrion giving us some dialogue over these cool shots of the Unsullied trying to storm Casterly Rock, and basically everything Tyrion's saying is happening, and we get this really cool book thing about him being in charge of the sewers, and basically he put a little alcove in there, a little trap door, a little tunnel to get in and out his lady friends that his father didn't approve of. And the Unsullied get in there, they storm the castle, they kill all the Lannisters, and Grey Worm's like, bro, there's supposed to be so many more Lannisters, where the hell are they at? And then he looks out over the sea, somehow he didn't notice this until now, and the Unsullied ships are being completely attacked and destroyed. Hopefully there weren't many on there, by Euron Greyjoy, who has the magical teleporting power of being able to get from King's Landing all the way, well, he wouldn't go over, all the way around to Casterly Rock, which is in the west. King's Landing's in the east. Get all those ships, he had to go all the way around. So, okay, he did it. I guess we'll just go with that. It's just the way it works. But he's out there, he's destroying the fleet, the Unsullied fleet. And then a really cool scene is where the hell are the rest of the Lannisters. We see where all the Lannisters are. They have abandoned Casterly Rock. They are marching with Tarly, Sam's dad, on Highgarden. And at this point, because I said, oh no, when I saw Euron. At this point in my reaction video, which if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll have a link to that at the end and the beginning of this video. But I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. They just take it. They easily take it. They take Highgarden. You have this bomb-ass scene between Diana Riggs, Lady Olenna, the Queen of Thorns, and Jaime, where she basically gets some last barbs in. Friggin' Cersei's a monster. She's gonna take you down. You're gonna go down with her, and she's a disease. She needs to be wiped out. She takes the poison, which is going to be pain-free, and then she confesses to Jaime that she is the one that ordered Joffrey's death. She's the one that killed him. Which was amazing. It was one last barb from the Queen of Thorns. So she went out winning while losing at the same time. That was really cool. So let's get into some theories here. Let's get into some information. How is this going to work? How are we going to do this? Danny has lost Dorne. Danny has lost the Greyjoys, the part of her fleet. Danny's lost the Unsullied fleet, and now Danny has lost Highgarden. She's lost the Tyrells. She's running out of allies. All she's got left right now is her dragons, the Dothraki, the Unsullied across Westeros and Casterly Rock, and she's got Jon. She's got Jon in the north. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, Cersei, that's where Cersei's going to get her gold to pay off the Iron Bank of Braavos. So right now, Cersei's doing pretty well, but she has got decent advisors. I mean, she's got Euron Greyjoy, the greatest captain of the 14 Seas, commanding her fleet, and she's got Jaime, who's pretty good, learned from Robb Stark, being the general of her armies. So, and now she's got Tarly, who's commanded a lot of the armies as well. I mean, it's just, she's doing really well right now. So we'll see how this continues, what Daenerys is going to do. And we'll see where we go from there. I mean, I'm really excited to see more Jon and Dany stuff. I'm excited to see how Arya looks like she's going to be arriving next episode. Oh, that'll be so fun. All we need is Jon back. But I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Right now, past couple episodes, Cersei has been, she's winning right now. She is winning. So we'll have to see what happens. I love this episode. I'm loving this season so far, where you can feel it's getting all tight. There's hardly any filler at all, if any. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Episode 3. There's only 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 4 episodes left in this season. The penultimate season of Game of Thrones. I am excited. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any theories that I missed on? Did I go over some stuff you didn't like, or you did? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out my reaction videos. I'll have the links somewhere around here. And with that, that is all from King Leland Loses 6-4, and I am out.